Yeah, that's right. The BKBK podcast is back. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and I'm here with fellow co-hosts Captain Kyle McKenna, Brian Taylor, and Kerry Taylor.
Yeah.
This is the show where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme.
They do.
What's up, fellas? What's going on, huh?
You know.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Happy August, everybody.
That's right.
Training camp season.
Happy training camp.
That's right.
Happy football season. Let's go.
Why don't you start a little bit more fired up, Kerry? Gee whiz, the Jets have been doing all right.
Too much bass in his voice? Is that what it is?
All right.
Heavy bass over here like he's Al Jarreau or something. I don't know.
Al Jarreau's a little bit higher.
Oh, he's a little bit higher?
Al Jarreau's a little bit higher.
Jeffrey Osborne, for the record, my favorite singer of all time.
Woo,
Love Jeffrey.
woo, woo.
Woo, woo.
And then woo, 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 woo.
Who sang the moonlighting theme? Was that Jeffrey Osborne or Al Jarreau?
That's a good
So
question.
on
Al
by
Jarreau.
night,
Al Jarreau.
That's Al Jarreau?
Al Jarreau.
Moonlighting stranger.
Oh, Lord.
Just met on the way.
Oh,
Bruce
God.
Willis. That's my guy. That's my man.
The BKBK. Hey, listen, that could be like an R&B crooners group too. Who knows, right? All right, maybe not. Let's stick to football. Let's stick to sports and entertainment.
Stick to what we know.
Weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
That's right. Like the wedding singer.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, guys, football's officially here with
It
2
is.
weeks of camp in the books.
It is.
We will be talking about what we're seeing in the 2019 Jets as of right now and what we're hoping to see more of or not hoping to see in this upcoming season. We will also want to talk about the impact of our rookie GM, Joe Douglas, and our head coach, Adam Gase, right?
Crazy
and,
eyes.
You know, and what all of that encompasses, as well as what's going on in the league in general.
Sure.
All righty?
Yeah.
So I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited. It's 2019 NFL football season.
It is, bro.
You know,
it is.
And we wouldn't be doing our show, our brand, BKBK, any justice if we didn't start off with the New York Jets. And you guys know where I want to start off with? Let's go chronologically now, right?
Yeah.
2019, the latecomer into our group, GM Joe Douglas.
JD. Got
Love
a
it.
lot crazy.
Love it.
Go ahead, Kerry. You saying what? He's saying I love it with a very
I love
straight
it.
face.
I love it. I mean, he was listed as a guard on Roto World.
It's probably a guard in college or something,
acquisition,
right?
right.
Yeah. He went to the University of Richmond.
Yeah, he's
Right.
a Richmond Spider.
Right, listed as a guard, and his first actions were to pull Khalil out of retirement.
Sure.
Trade for Alex Lewis for a seventh round pick. I know that he's had some issues regarding his health,
But he's a starter, though, too.
but he's a starter.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he understands the idea that we need to protect the asset, and that is Sam Darnold.
I think both of those moves are low risk, high reward moves, especially with the money that we have under the cap still. You basically manipulated waivers by trading a 7th round pick for Alex Lewis.
Right.
You just made sure that you got him and somebody else didn't.
Right.
And then with Khalil, if it doesn't work out, it's really money that
It's like a 1-year deal.
yeah. I think it's great moves. I don't know if it solves the problem because I
it
think
creates
that
depth. I think, and the least
Yeah.
it creates depth.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues that McCagnon we always had with him is that there is an obvious void or an issue that we have on the team, and he wouldn't address it. And I think that Joe Douglas has addressed or tried to address some of the issues that we had in the offensive line. It's an obvious thing that we have out there where the center, just having depth at center, who's behind Harrison, even if he was going to start,
Right.
who's behind him?
Very good point, B.
Right, who's behind him? So
he did more for the O-line in 15 minutes than McCagnon did in 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that 100%. And I think it's just, it seems like he was somebody. Here's the thing that I don't like about the Jets and how they did it is that we should have done this prior to the draft and free agency and allow Joe Douglas, if he was going to be that talented guy, then he should have been the guy to do the number 1 pick, the number 3 pick in the draft. He should have been the one to go to free agency and spend all the money. But at this point in time, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing that we can do about that. Joe has done whatever he can do based on what he's got to fix this roster and to improve the roster. So I like what he's done so far.
I'll tell you what, for a GM coming in late after the fact with his hands being kind of tied, I guess, he's done a great job, with what he can do coming in after the fact. You bring in an all-pro center
right
after he has retired. Okay, a cerebral guy that you can tell by watching his interview. All right, this guy is a natural leader. He likes football, and he will be a great mentor. Even if he's not back to his all-pro self, why don't you go back to maybe your alternate pick Pro Bowl self? How about that? I'll take that.
Funny.
Yeah.
And he was 16. I looked at Pro Football Focus. He was like 16 out of 32 qualifiers as far as centers were concerned last year. So it's not like
already better than Jonathan Harrison.
Absolutely, already better than Jonathan Harrison. But it's not like he's setting the world on fire. But what I do like is, again, cerebrally, what he's able to do and take off of the plate of Sam Darnold. He knows a lot, recognizes it a lot. He's seen a lot of things out there as far as defenses and fronts and all those other things. So I think that's where he will be an asset to Sam.
And to add to that, from what I understand, in Adam Gaze's offense, the center is required to do a lot of that, of what you just said.
Right.
And again, going back to my whole idea of developing, Sam Darnold, there is no better person to do that than the person whose hands are under your crotch.
Right.
The guy that is telling you exactly what to do and when to do it.
I was watching ESPN the other day. It was talking about Kirk Cousins, and he was talking about the sweating problem he has with the center. And so, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, my wife was like, "Is this a real thing?"
It's
I'm like,
an intimate relationship.
Well, yeah, it's kind of intimate. There's a lot of fluids that go back and forth, right? Right?
On.
A lot of things going on.
There's a towel right there. I'm just saying.
And you need Lysol with that towel too. How about that? Gee whiz.
If you think about it too, like big shout out to our guy Kevin Mawai, who went into the Hall of Fame.
Big shout out.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Like the best things about Kevin Mawai and Nick Mangold in their tenures as the Jets centers was really that they cultivated the room. They brought a certain respect to like all the things that you guys just mentioned, making the calls, being simpatico with the quarterback, developing guys that might be coming up.
Word. Hold on. I love that word you just used, Kyle McCann.
Simpatico.
Simpatico.
That's right.
Hold on. You said it like, you're Roman and you're saying it in its true Latin form. Well, you can Americanize it, Kyle. It doesn't have to be simpatico.
Simpatico.
Make it Peruvian or something too.
As long as you appreciate my heavy words.
I love it.
Very heavy. It's got a lot of sauce on it. Got a lot of sauce on it.
Tons of it.
But yeah, I think that if Khalil even just comes in and brings a little bit of that type of thing to the offense and to the quarterback, you're going to feel the dividend of that, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, probably way after he's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about Ryan Khalil's career to say whether he's on par with a Kevin Mawai and a Hall of Fame guy or not. I would have to really take a look at that. But it's Dallas that will reap benefits from, just like the Josh McCown effect on Sam Darnold. He's still talking about Josh McCown and the conversations that they have offline. And I think it's a real good move by Joe Douglas.
I think it's a really good move. I think it's beneficial. And for as much as we've suffered through being Jets fans and the ups and downs of it, if you think about the history of the center position on this team, let's go back to Jim Sweeney, another really good
We've had some
center.
good ones.
We've had some good ones.
We've had some good ones.
Yeah. We've had some good ones. And
John Schmidt was Joe Namath's guy, I believe. Joe Fields before Jim Sweeney.
Yep.
There have been some good centers on this team.
There have been.
Did we trade from Mawai, or was that a free
we
agent?
did.
That was a trade, right?
It was a free agency.
Okay. Free agency acquisition.
I think it was like one of Bill Parcells' moves with Curtis Martin. And I think somebody made the argument on Twitter earlier in the week that everybody says you build through the draft, but that Parcells-led Jets campaign was very much free agency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I
he
think
was
we had
only there 3 years, and he got us good quick.
I think Pepper Johnson was a free agent on that
Yes, he was.
roster too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Vinny Testaverde, that's free agency
Vinny
too.
Testaverde.
Yeah.
Testaverde, yeah. And he became, I think he was an all-pro that year, too. 29-7. 29 touchdowns and only 7 picks. That was the best season he's ever had.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because before that, Testaverde was like the king of the pick. He was throwing picks all the time. He was like Jameis Winston or something. Like
that old Tampa Bay uniform
in that
too
old
was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I know that. I know we're always like typecast down in the dumps, like loser Jets, same old Jets kind of thing, and I think that's kind of put on us by a lot of other fans that love to kick that mud on us. But when you listen to Kevin Mawae's Hall of Fame acceptance speech, you realize that there was a lot of success in there too. You know, you had we were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl with Parcells
against Denver.
Even with Sanchez, we were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. Yeah. So it just reminds you too, like how quick this can turn around if you have the right people in charge. And going back to the original thing we started talking about, Joe Douglas and Adam Gase, crazy Adam Gase, the maniac, smelling salts Adam Gase. That's wild, man. I saw that. I was like, no way. I thought there's so many things that you're like, oh, I thought somebody made this up or like photoshopped it.
You don't just get eyes. You don't just get eyes like that by mistake.
Funny. Takes years and years to get eyes like that. Right?
I'll tell you what, this is a great transition, right? Because we're moving on into our next act. You know,
sure.
We've talked about, you know, how happy we are to have Joe Douglas as our GM and some of the moves that he's made, considering his hands are tied behind his back, and he was able to, you know, come through with a few miracles. You know what I'm saying? And now we're going on to the Adam Gase-led 2019 Jets in the first 2 weeks of camp. And yes, that video, I wish we had it, you know, or else we play it again. Of him smelling that smell.
I can show it to you right now. Just look at me, right? Put the camera on.
All right. Here we go. We got a single of Brian right here. Yeah.
It's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Just to give you a little insight into like a football medical kit in 2019, like it still has like all the stuff that you'd expect, like the tape and everything like that. Yeah, but somewhere deep down in there's like 2 little things of smelling salts, which you pop them open almost like a cap, and then but nobody really uses them anymore because I mean if you get knocked out on the football field, it's not like
you're out the game.
They call an ambulance now. They don't just like revive you and then throw you back in there. Thank goodness things have changed a little bit. Everybody still has the smelling salts in there.
Has anyone here at the table, you know, in our football careers, in our own respective football careers, ever had to take a whiff of smelling salts?
No,
I didn't have to, but I did it anyway.
I should have.
Yeah,
funny.
I should have too, but I never did. You know.
Yeah.
Kyle Gase, is that what we're talking about?
Kyle Gase.
Kyle Gase. So I've never done it. So what is it like?
It's like ammonia.
It's like ammonia.
Mm.
All right. So that's why
it's like really strong ammonia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's too strong. Like it's like if you don't need it and you smell it.
Yeah.
Like he did right there, it's kind of like it's almost like it's like you're huffing something, like you're huffing.
Funny,
you know, like
if you got allergies, like Brandon, does it make you sneeze or something?
Oh,
like is that what ends up happening?
I don't know.
It just like knocks all the stuff loose. That's going on.
It's serious business. It's strong.
I've always equated it to. Remember, Steve-O? He was on that show with.
Yeah, Jackass.
Right, and he snorted wasabi.
Wow.
And it burned he was like, so
wow.
Adam Gase made that same face, you know?
Yeah, he looked like wasabi. Definitely. Definitely like wasabi.
You know what? It's
wasabi.
Like
that's his nickname now.
But seriously, it seems as though he's got tremendous buy-in from the players right now. Like they seem to really like him, think he's intelligent. You know, like it seems like, you know, you always you hit restart when you fire one coach and you hire another.
Sure.
So you're going to get that honeymoon restart. So we'll see how that goes. They got to win games and stuff like that, score points.
Sure.
But seems like there's buy-in, and it seems like he's kind of having fun. You know, like he doesn't look like he's miserable at all. It looks like, you know, he's out there doing the smelling salts and he's calling plays the whole game. You know, he has an offensive coordinator on staff, but it looks like he's the one calling all the plays.
Yeah.
So
well, let's say let's take it to the not the step when you did, Kyle, but let's take it to the first preseason game. And what we saw there was exactly what you're talking about, where we came out offensively, 7-play drive, 75 yards, touchdown.
Yep.
You put the ball in Darnold's hands.
Yeah.
A lot of the drive that was there, you saw him
5 for 6.
5 for 6. That one incompletion was almost a pick six.
Yeah.
Almost a pick six. So you like the way, and they talked about it during camp and stuff like that, that Darnold, he kind of makes a mistake early, then gets locked in. Then after that, you saw that during that drive where 5 straight completions, and he was able to move around in the pocket and get open, and then wait for his players to get open. So it was definitely a great drive. And then on the defensive side of the ball with Greg Williams and all of that, the 3 and out that we were able to do against the Giants' first offense, I mean, that was phenomenal as well. So that's exactly what you like to see from your team in the first preseason game, is score points, score a touchdown, and prevent points 3 and out.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with it. And the thing that stands out to me even before the game, and that I was noticing the first 2 weeks or week and a half before the game, was just reading the newspaper clippings, the reports, the daily reports, the vibe of Jets camp, and just the overall team vibe.
Competitive.
It was competitive, but at least I haven't heard of any brawls yet. You know what I'm saying? Usually in camp, that there's some type of brawl. There's no Geno getting his jaw broken.
Sheesh.
None of that nonsense happening. And the chemistry there seems to be, even with the offense and the defense, all love. Like a great, healthy football, competitive love. And the locker room seems together. And everyone seems to really like and respect Adam Gase. And that was the thing that I wasn't sure of. And my own biased opinion,
very biased
it was, I didn't want him here, and it was biased just because of the visual. I looked at this like nerdy looking guy with his wild eyes, and then looking all crazy at he's within the division. You're 100% right, Kerry, within the division. So I already don't like you. It's dead serious, right?
With a reputation that his players don't like him
exactly,
as well.
And the front office doesn't like him, and ownership has an issue with him,
right?
All that stuff, but I'm seeing it all congeal in a good way here, and people like him. They like his approach to the offense. I hear Sam Darnold really likes him a lot, and I hear that Gase loves Darnold.
Absolutely,
I hear he loves him,
gushes over him.
Yes, and I love it that my coach loves my quarterback. I just, I just love it. And I guess him bringing in Greg Williams, what the heck is Kerry looking at this?
I love that my quarterback loves him.
It's not a love. Is that love squared?
I'm a love it, right.
Love to the next power.
Love. A lot of love going on.
Listen, man. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, so what do you want from me? I gotta, I gotta love something.
That was a long L in the love too.
It was a Joe Namath. The play is filled with love.
Absolutely.
Every breathing.
Joe Namath, a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Athletes.
Funny.
Extra syllables.
Yes. But basically, I have been thus far, I've been proven wrong, and I'm going to give him that chance because I have not seen anything contrary to that, and things are looking great. The whole team. I mean, of
Except
course,
the kicker. But we'll talk about that later.
Well, it's not a chemistry thing. It's just something that just needs to happen. Just something.
Need
that
good
just
chemistry in the kicking crew too, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You gotta hit your PATs, but you know what I mean. That's we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Like the kicking situation and the backup tight end situation are. I mean, I love the play that Herndon made,
but he won't be there for 4 weeks.
Not going to be there for 4 weeks, and our backups didn't do anything in the entire game. Daniel Brown and Wesco looked confused a lot. I don't know if we want to save this for a different segment, but we could do that then. But those are two spots that I think that Joe Douglas and Adam Gase are nervous about right now, not just us.
Well, let's hold that. I mean, I don't want to be a moderator here necessarily, but we haven't heard from Kerry yet on this segment. What are your thoughts about, the first preseason game or camp in general?
Yeah.
Well,
everybody better own the fact that they didn't like Gase except for me.
Oh, I'll
I
own
don't
it.
know.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one that was
I'll own it.
a little
what I-
cautiously optimistic.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the
what I-
thing.
what
I'm
I'll
not
say
even
is-
sure if I agree with Kyle saying that he's the only one. I feel
Yeah,
like we all four of us didn't like it. Am I right or am I wrong?
I thought it
I
was.
didn't like it.
I know I
I
didn't
thought I didn't love it necessarily, but I was like, it was high risk, high reward. You know, you got Greg Williams there. You got Adam Gase there. I think he loved it the most out of anybody.
But
You
he
know, as
didn't
far as
really like it.
I don't think he was like all in. Like, yeah, man, this is exactly what I
think,
wanted.
I think love it is too strong.
yeah,
okay.
love it is strong.
Out of the group, I was probably the most enthused about it. But Kerry, what do you think about it right now?
Yeah.
I think this is a honeymoon stage. I mean, we haven't even played the first
point.
game
Good
yet.
point.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Sure.
you got to look at it from the perspective of, I hope he has learned from his mistakes. If he's learned from his mistakes, you know, on his freshman venture into this head coaching environment.
Sophomore.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying learn from his freshman
Oh,
experience.
learning from. I'm sorry.
Learning
Yeah,
from
yeah.
his freshman experience. Then, you know, the sophomore endeavor, you'd hope, you know, is an improvement, is a significant improvement. He has somebody there who's going to be the head coach of the defense. So that leaves him to just have to worry about only his offense. And I think that relationship, because he was a part of bringing this guy in, has to be successful for this to work, for this thing to work. I like the fact that he is all football all the time,
Sure.
and to the detriment of his family, which you
Funny,
heard.
I
which
heard
you've
about that on
where he
radio.
was like, "I'm out of here. You just had the baby, and what's it got to do with me? I'm out."
You know what the
Right.
funny thing is? The last thing he said to his wife was, "You good, right?"
You good, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then he bounced.
right, and then he bounced.
Wow.
Yeah.
To coach.
That's crazy.
Like, I like that he is all football all the time, and I really don't care that he's, you know, not the best family member when it comes to that.
Easy, easy,
You know,
easy.
look, because
It
as
ain't
a,
my,
as
it
a
ain't my
fan,
familiar.
Yeah, right.
It ain't me familiar.
right, as a fan, you want that. You want your head coach to be dialed in and
Yeah.
locked in, and to be, you know, eat, drink, and live football. So
I'm so glad that he locked in so much that he realized that his eyes were just like a little bit too much. And he's like, all right, let's just change this. I'm going to make sure I wear a hat all the time, and I'm going to grow in my beard. So now his look is tolerable to me, or a little bit more tolerable. But
Is it?
yeah, but
I don't care what he looks like.
When he
during that-
makes it, I don't care. Yeah, I'm with Kerry.
I
As
don't
long as he
care what
wins,
he
I don't
looks
care
like.
what he looks like, man.
Right.
That dude could look like
right. Who cares?
Cro-Magnon man.
I know,
mean,
but
I'm
I'm just saying that, like, I'm just saying.
Right.
I don't
Like,
care,
I'm
dude.
not- right.
Flintstones,
I'm not
you know what I'm
dating
saying?
him.
Like
I'm
Barney.
There's like three
Right.
or four names that came to my head when you said Cro-Magnon man that I'm not going to mention right now.
Please
Okay,
don't
okay,
do
all
it.
right.
Don't do it.
Former Bruins. I'm not even going
Right.
Oh, no.
I'm sure. Some alumni on that list. There's some alumni on that list.
But the
We're
last
talking
point,
to you.
the last point I want to make about the first game is that you're not going to see a whole lot, specifically because they're going to play the Giants during the regular season. So all you were getting was, you know, just the basics. All you wanted to see was Darnold able to manage the offense, you know, make the throws that he needed to make, recover if he needed to recover, which was on that first throw. Where it was almost a pick six, almost like his first game of the season.
See how the
last year.
offensive line was going to come
See
through
how
and
the
protect.
offensive line was going to do. See what your tight end and Crowder, who I really liked.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked really good.
He
Looked
did.
really good.
You know, I wanted to see more of Ty Montgomery, excuse me.
Sure.
I wanted to see Ryan Griffin, the tight end that they signed, because I was upset that they let go Neil Sterling, because I thought that we could develop him as a tight end. But I saw what I needed to see, even out of the defense, the 3 and out that we saw. I wanted to see more of Quintin Williams, to see what he was going to do, what kind of impact
He
he
didn't
was going to
flash
have.
at all, man. I was
He
a
didn't-
little.
He didn't flash, but
Kyle
again,
mentioned that too, man, and it's probably because Kyle didn't want to draft him in
Right.
the first place.
right.
But I think, you know, Quintin Williams. We were trying to search for his number. You know, I have a website here. I'll shoot it over to you, Kyle. So it has all the numbers of everybody.
It has the
whatever.
numerical.
Yeah.
He's
It has
number
numbers.
90.
So he was number 95 or whatever else,
Yeah.
and he didn't show on tape at all. Well, you know, I didn't see him when he was. I think he played part time on the first team, or maybe he came in immediately when the second team came in.
He was in
but he
for-
didn't make any impact.
He wasn't
plays.
in with the second team. He was just in for that series.
Okay.
And he had one tackle.
one time.
He played
Maybe
with
an assist.
he played on the drive that Daniel Jones scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
And they had no pressure on the quarterback that drive. He was in there with Shepard next to him. I think Copeland and Kafasi. What's up with Henry Anderson right now? He didn't play at all, right?
I don't think he did, and neither did Leonard Williams. So he didn't have
Okay.
that.
Leonard had an
that
injury,
that
though.
support. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Leonard, and I didn't hear anything about about
Henry Anderson.
Henry Anderson having an injury, though. That was the only thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple things to consider with the D line and walking back some of the things I texted. They didn't stunt at all.
Sure.
They got double teamed. It was a 4-man rush pretty much the entire drive. I think they may have blitzed once on the drive.
And
Yeah.
one of
So
them being a stand-up, as far as the
Yeah.
rush is concerned.
He didn't look impressive. He didn't have that button press that when you look at all his college highlights, the real dominant things. And going back to what Brian said, it's not that I didn't want to draft him. It's I wanted to draft Ed Oliver over him. I think Ed Oliver is more of a transformational player than Quintin Williams is going to be. I think Quintin Williams is going to be great. I just think Ed Oliver is going to be special. But that remains to be seen now that they're both on their respective teams and everything. And then you guys said that you looked up the stats on Ed Oliver, and he didn't really play that much or have any stats on the Buffalo game. But jury's out on that until we get till 15 years from now or whatever. I think Q is going to be great. He just wasn't not great in that drive at all.
And that's the
didn't
thing.
look special.
And that's the thing. If you're a D lineman, you're not going to have as many tackles as, say, a linebacker or even a strong safety, for the most part, mostly, right? You're given
But
one
disruption
series.
is the thing, though.
Right.
That is true. It's
Right.
one disruption, and two, holding the line so that the linebackers can come free and make tackles, especially if you're playing from a nose tackle position, which he was. He was an interior/nose tackle. And then the lack of calling stunts, because we weren't, it's first game of the season, we weren't doing any line stunts or
Very
vanilla.
stuff like
You
that.
played very vanilla.
Yeah, we played very vanilla, so I'm not concerned as of yet with the lack of his production.
Of course not.
So
not.
I'm completely and 100% dismissing that. I have full confidence in Q Williams to be able to be a great player.
I think one of the things that did concern me overall, and which led to I think us losing the game, was that the depth and where we show in the second and third, and those type of players. And I think that shows with maybe McCagnon and maybe not having a deep roster overall.
On both sides of the ball, or specifically one side?
I'd say both sides because we don't have great backup wide receivers. As far as like
linemen, wide receivers,
cornerback.
But remember,
D line.
So you mentioned cornerback,
Go ahead.
right?
Yep.
We are thin.
Wild thin.
Sure.
Totally thin. We let Derek Jones go.
Yep.
Was that before the game or after the game?
That was after
the game.
After the game.
Yeah.
We didn't have Le'Veon playing. We didn't have who's the other?
Well, that's fine. I mean,
Montgomery playing. We didn't have the who we just re-signed running back.
McGuire.
Powell.
Powell.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of guys that just were not on the field, right? So
and that was okay from a running back perspective.
That's what you're going to get from the first team. But I think that what affected us the most was the cornerback positions not being deep.
Correct.
I think that, and Marcus May was not there either. That guy really is going to be instrumental in sort of doing mop-up duty.
Yeah.
There's Marcus May news, isn't there?
Yes, there
he's
is.
back. He's back from pup list.
He's back from
That's
off the pup list.
So basically, we should have him for the first game of the season once we get him back and in condition, if he isn't already football conditioned, to play that free safety position. And plus, just having the chemistry with Adams, so that they can have such a that word I'm looking for again, Kyle? What? Simpatico relationship that by default, it can make our weaker cornerbacks a little bit better until we get someone or some twos in to basically fill in that gap. And I had my eye on Captain Munnerlyn, but it looks like Captain Munnerlyn, who's now 31, he got picked up by someone else. So I think we do need to bring in a veteran, not too long in the tooth, but we need someone with experience to get in there and take up the starter position.
I'm a little concerned about May, and the reason why he was out was a nerve
I know
issue.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I mean, you can't just say sit on the sideline and then it'll get better overall. I mean, it might, and it's in his shoulder too.
Yeah.
And he's a safety. You know what I mean? So you think about
running
what
downhill.
you're using, right? Running downhill. What are you using to tackle? I mean, textbook tackle, you're using your shoulders in order to do that. You're wrapping up and all that. So that is a concern. And his injury history, the first couple of years he's been in the league as well, is got to be a concern overall. I love him out there. Because when he's out there, man, we look like a much better defense overall. So that's just flying around,
making plays.
Absolutely. It makes Jamal Adams better too. Overall, just knowing he's got that free safety high in order to kind of cover his back or whatever. So I am kind of concerned about that overall. So hopefully it doesn't turn out to be a long issue.
Just to circle back.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kerry.
Just to circle back real quick, I think the relationship that Joe Douglas has with the league and specifically his experience with the Eagles, I am paying attention to that Eagles roster because they have a ton of cornerbacks that might be available when it comes down for us to make a decision.
Ravens too, man. No, don't sleep on his relationship prior relationship with the Ravens as well.
I'm just talking about the personnel that I see on
the
quarterback position on the Eagles.
And Chicago, who he was with after the Ravens. So those are two or three really good clubs known for their defense.
Sure.
Known for their personnel in general.
Sure.
And he came up under those conditions and made those contacts and has a network with those three franchises.
Sure.
Now they're not going to do him any favors.
Of course, this is
don't get me wrong. This is,
but it's a relationship business. It's a relationship business, though, right? I mean, how can we go out for a drink? I think work something out. Go ahead, Kyle.
More importantly, though, I mean, he cut his teeth on pro scouting.
Yes, he has.
So right now, whatever they're watching all those preseason games on NFL Network, and they are now they got their own computer system. They're watching them,
so
but they're watching all the games, and they're looking at the bottom ends of those rosters. And I wouldn't be surprised if he throws another 7th round pick somebody's way to get somebody before they go on waivers.
Sure,
if they are a guy, but I wouldn't mind seeing them take a chance, maybe putting Perry Nickerson out at corner, playing Brian Poole in the slot. In the slot, and because Perry Nickerson played pretty well in the preseason game. I think he had a pick, didn't he? Or he knocked something down? You don't think so, Brandon?
I didn't think he played well. But
no, he didn't play well, and all the critics are saying that he did not play well. He got burnt a lot. He did have a pick, but it was called back. He was called back because of a penalty.
Was he playing more in the slot, or
I think he was playing more in the slot.
Yeah, I don't like him as a slot. I'd rather him be on the corner.
I kind of watched the game like in piecemeal because I was doing my own pro scouting at CenturyLink Field. I went to see the Geno Smith led Seattle Seahawks versus the Broncos.
Yeah, you named
and I'm here to report that Geno Smith still isn't good.
He stinks.
Newsflash. He's not. Well, he's still not good.
I think that he's going to get cut, and because
that 2013 draft for quarterbacks is probably the worst ever. It was him and Emmanuel. What's his name again? He went to the Bills. It was Geno.
Emmanuel, the kid from the Florida State,
yes.
TJ Emmanuel,
yes, or something, or
EJ,
yeah.
Terrible. And then wasn't Jake Locker in that draft too?
I don't think
was
so.
He?
No,
he quit. He quit football too.
I think Locker was the next year after.
But Paxton Lynch played really well in that preseason game, and he totally outplayed Geno Smith, who they both pretty much had 2 quarters. And I think that he'll probably eke out Geno Smith. He'll be back on the wire.
Bagging groceries, maybe. Bagging groceries.
I got to see DK Metcalf up close and personal, and didn't walk away that impressed.
Not even with his guns?
No, you would have thought that his guns would have been more impressive in that uniform. But I was saying to Brandon, he didn't look that good in his pads, and I know that really bothers Brandon. It's probably the thing he hates the most, but somebody not looking good in their pads.
Yeah. I'm quick to shout that out.
But yeah, I don't know the Perry Nickerson thing. I gotta take a little bit more look at the play-by-play. But I thought that it's possible, maybe like Kerry said, if we bumped him outside with the starting safeties in there, maybe we would have a better shot. But I think we got to pull somebody from somewhere else for sure.
Yeah, the depth that we need on the as far as the cornerbacks are concerned, we definitely need. I mean, Darryl Roberts has flashed in camp, as I've heard, and he didn't do anything in his time during the first preseason game that would change that. Jermaine Johnson kind of looked good for the first time, so maybe he'll go back to his potential all-star type level. But besides that, as far as on the outside, I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of depth there, so I'm sure Joe Douglas is sitting there looking at other rosters, like you mentioned previously, in order to try to find some talent.
Did they play Blasson Austin in the game? Because I don't remember seeing him.
I didn't see him.
Is he on
right now?
Who's this again?
Is he on the PUP though?
He
might be on the
I
PUP.
think he's on the active PUP. I could be wrong, but I think he's on the active
because he has the knee that he's recovering from.
Sure.
Who's that? I missed that one. Who?
Blasson Austin.
Oh yeah, I think he's on the PUP. I'm not sure if he's on the active or inactive PUP, but he's definitely not out there though.
Yeah, actually, Darryl Roberts is listed as the
starting
corner, and Perry Nickerson is listed as the third behind Karan Brown on Trumaine Johnson's side. So I guess they would be looking at Karan Brown before they'd be looking at Perry Nickerson.
And they like him in camp, but he didn't play exceedingly well either during the game, Karan Brown. My thing about I do like Perry, but I think for him playing the outside, he's like 5'8", and he's
like a Ray Mickens.
I was just about to say he's not as good as Ray Mickens, and he's not as good as Aaron Glenn, who I would trust more on the outside. And Ray Mickens played the slot, and of course we know Aaron Great was a great corner for us. He played the outside and played great. The only time he didn't play great was during the Spike game when Dan Marino played him out.
Yeah,
he's 5'10". They got Perry listed as 5'10".
5'10". He looks shorter than that.
Yeah, and Blasson
he's a John Stark 6'5". That's what he is.
Funny.
He's not really 5'.
I don't think he's 5'8". I can't see him being 5'8". Absolutely not.
You think he's taller than that?
He's like 5'10".
Yeah,
he's 5'10".
And they got Blasson on the NFI non-football injury list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to the wide receiver situation, I think that when we look at the depth chart on that, we're in much better shape than we have been in a while, I think, because if you think about it, you have three slots. You have Le'Veon, you have Crowder, and then if Dortch sticks, you have Dortch to play the slot too. Yeah. And including Bilal Powell can play the slot as well, or
Montgomery too. Yeah.
So you have all these, like, in the absence of Herndon, what I see Gase doing is going more 4 receiver looks, 5 receiver looks than your 2 tight end, 3 tight end looks.
And if you think about it, this is a coach's delight because these are interchangeable parts, and a lot of these interchangeable parts can still play at a very high level. Because let's think about it. Let's just say the slot receiver, yeah? You have Crowder. Who else on the team can play slot receiver? We got Le'Veon Bell. Are you kidding me? Probably the best running back that can play a slot in all of the NFL. And then you have Montgomery, who's been drawing like exceedingly high praises from reporters at Jets camp. And then you have Dortch, who's been a great free agent acquisition. And remember, in this room, I believe, we were all talking about, hey, they just got this kid from Wake Forest. And all 4 of us, we all loved it.
All loved it.
And we're continuing to love that pick right now. Mm-hmm. So we have that, okay? Then you have Bilal Powell. If he sticks, we already know that he can catch and run the ball. He's been doing it his entire Jets career with us here with the Jets.
Bilal Powell is one of the best running back screen guys in the NFL, in my opinion, when he's healthy. He's very, very good. He'll take a screen to the house quick.
Totally.
I'm just worried about the outside. That's all. I mean, from an injury perspective.
Outside. You mean the outside receivers?
Exactly. I like Anunwa. I love Anderson as well on the outside. It's just if either one of those go down, what else do you have?
That's what I think Anunwa works better. Works better in between the hashes. I just think he works better in between the hashes.
I hear what you're saying, Kerry.
I think it was pigeonholed.
I was just about to say that. I feel like we haven't seen enough of him at the outside positions, and what I've seen in camp, he's making some great catches. And you know what? Let's put them at a disadvantage. He's a big boy. He can run. And you know what? When you're on the outside, catch that rock and run him over and get into the end zone.
I like him. I like him against any corner that's 5'10", 185 pounds on the outside, catching the ball.
Exactly.
I love him. I mean, to me, it seems like he's got the advantage
Just
from
stay
a body
healthy, man.
standpoint. He's just got to stay healthy. He's got to stay on the field. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But I love him. You know, he's fast enough, and he's got the body type that he could body any of those corners that he's gonna play out there. You body him up,
Body him up for real.
definitely.
Yep.
But I think he got pigeonholed in the last offense that he was like, all right, I'm just gonna go and catch a little hitch. And then I'm gonna try to make whatever I can make out of it.
Or a
And that
little
was
screen
every-
with one
little
lineman
screen.
coming out and
Yeah,
blocking
man.
for me. Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
all they gave him. That's all they gave him. But I think you
Yeah.
can put him on the outside, man. I think you
We'll,
do
we'll
it.
see. We'll see how Gaze utilizes him. I think you're right. I think that's going to be a big part of, what he gets out of the offense, developing players, specifically him. I think you might be right in terms of him being pigeonholed and having more opportunities on that outside edge.
And you know what? Here's what I like. I like the relationship or the similarity in philosophy that I'm seeing thus far between Williams, the defensive coordinator, and Gase, head coach / offensive coordinator.
Right.
They love the interchangeable parts. And if you listen, guys, if any of us were coaching and we had access to high level interchangeable parts, we'd be like this, Dr. Mindbender. We'd be like, oh, yes, look at this. Let me just brew this up real quick. I'm going to put this guy here and put this guy there. And I think that they're both coming in with that same philosophy. And Gase is doing that. And just like how I listed it off before, a lot of these players that can still do the same things, we don't have as much depth to be able to do that in the outside wide receivers, just like what Brian was saying.
Sure.
And that's what we're hoping for. But for the most part in the offense, even in the tight end position, we can still kind of do that, especially when you bring Herndon back, blocking and catching. We can do that. And then on defense, that's what Williams is looking for too. You know why? Because he blitzes so much. He's kind of like a old school Rex Ryan type of mindset, as needing the interchangeable parts so that he can send guys coming in while having full confidence that the guys behind them can sit back in man or in zone and play good pass defense.
And to add to that, what they both do as far as Gase and Williams is that they attack.
Yes.
They're both attacking
Yeah.
coordinators.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about both of them. They're not going to just sit back on the heels and say, "Hey, what are they giving us on the other side of the ball?" It's like,
Yeah.
no, we're going to attack you. You basically do what you try to plan against us.
Yeah.
Instead of the other way around.
Without a doubt. So
I
guys,
think that
yeah, go ahead,
how do you guys feel about Deontay Barnett and and Josh Bellamy? I don't think that they're having that bad of a camp, or they didn't have they played pretty good in the preseason game the other day. But I think that more importantly, you're probably not going to carry as many wide receivers as you carry running backs, because you have all those running backs that can play wide receiver too. So you might actually have a running back that makes the roster over a wide receiver.
well, you know what,
because
Kyle?
they're doing both.
That brings me to our third act. Great job. Basically, this third act we labeled as who needs to go, who needs to stay, and who needs to come in to join the New York Jets. So let's chat it up about that. Colin, if you want to get specific, shouting out specific names, I'd love to start with you since you already started it off a little bit for us.
All right, who needs to come? Trent Williams. Give up a draft pick. I saw some arguments that maybe you try to package.
Kerry shaking his head.
Oh Lord, that was on my list. That's right there on my list.
That's
Redskins.
all good. Teammates, baby. It's all
There you
good.
go.
Carry on, Kyle.
Maybe you try to package. I saw somebody mention packaging Beachum with a draft pick to the Redskins so that you fill their void at starting left tackle. I'd rather have Trent Williams and Beachum for depth.
Me too.
Or put Beachum on the right side.
Yeah, Beachum on the right.
Yeah, that's another thing. But love to see that happen. Don't know what the cornerback market's going to be as of now, but go get a corner.
Can't do Claiborne anymore because he's got a 4-game suspension. Plus, he just signed a year contract. And then I was talking about Captain Munnerlyn before that.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer available, even though he's advanced in age. I would have liked to have signed him to a 1 year. He's 31, but still plays effectively. So those two are out, and I just, if someone could look it up, I just don't know who else is out there on the free agent market that is serviceable enough for us. And Kerry's saying
it's going to have to be an acquisition. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I think that Joe Douglas is looking at the Eagles in their abundance of corners. I'm telling you, by the end of the third preseason game, we will have a corner in house. And again,
I'm gonna pull up the Eagles depth chart right now.
You got it.
Yeah,
So
I was
I'm
looking at the same
Go
thing.
ahead, Kerry. So they have an abundance. Do you happen to know kind of like who these
No.
guys are?
I do not. I just know that they
have a plethora.
They have a plethora and they're coveted. So, but
And
you can continue
yeah,
to
yeah.
Kyle about
And you know who else or what else we need to address? Kicker.
Well, I wanted Canizaro to go anyway, but I didn't want him to go now until they had somebody. But I see that they signed someone else in his place.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. I mean,
okay
if you
with him
can't,
going,
you
yeah.
can't hit your PATs. I mean,
Absolutely.
You out like Stout then.
Yeah,
Forget about
no
it.
doubt. And for him to
On the
retire on
wrong
his
route.
own, clearly his mind wasn't there.
His mind
No.
was mush. You know why? Because he's a kicker and he's already retiring at 28 years old.
wow.
You should try to retire at 38. Let that accrue that money and get that pension, even though the pension you get after 4 years. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but if you can't perform, it doesn't really matter.
well,
Yeah,
I get it.
so-
But he thinks he can't perform. You know why? Because his head is a mess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all mental with the
it's-
kicking.
right,
I mean,
but-
you can kick it 55, 60 yards, but I mean, is it going to be accurate? I mean, the accuracy is mental.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Could he not kick, or was his head messed up? I think he just can't kick.
I'll answer
and as
that
a
question
result,
for
his
you.
head is messed up.
I'll answer that question
Didn't
for
he
you.
miss a kick in 1 year and then?
The chicken came first.
We're gonna get into a physiological.
Funny.
The chicken came first.
Funny.
So,
Okay. Yeah. So,
All right.
is that
Lord.
what you said?
Yeah, there we go. He said,
Right.
Lord, yes, we going theological on this one. All right.
Oh.
Next one.
But yeah, listen, man. I'm glad he retired, so we didn't have to put him out the pasture. Because I mean, at the end of the day, he looked like a complete mess. Yeah, complete mess in that first preseason game. It's like when you're missing PATs, dude. I mean, I don't want to
Plural.
see you
Plural.
right, plural in the first
Yeah.
preseason game when
Yeah.
it should be zero pressure on you at this point in time.
Right.
Then I can't. There's no way I want you to go into week one. I go with a no-name dude.
But to be
at this
fair,
point.
I think the first one he missed, it was a penalty and it moved 10 yards back, but still, I don't care.
that's like a 35-yard kick, bro.
You're right. No,
Right? I mean, it's a 35-yard field goal,
Yeah.
and I'm still, if you miss that, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm throwing the pillows on the couch, man. You know what I mean?
As
I'm
Kyle,
like,
right,
come
as
on,
Kyle
man.
said, there's got to be some rugby dude we can sign that can kick some damn field goals.
Yeah,
Crazy.
somebody from
Drop kicks,
Australia.
doing-
Drop kick a field goal. Or something.
Seriously. Get some Australian or some New Zealander or something like
That's
that.
the worst way to lose a game. I mean, I was with my buddy who was the Chicago Bears fan,
Yeah. What's his name again? He was on our show.
Anthony. Yeah. So I was with him during that playoff game or whatever else where your man missed the kick at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, forget it, yo.
Yeah.
They were a mess. They were a mess at that point in time.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to recover from that this year, trying to figure out who the kicker is going to be.
You should have been
At
doing
the
that.
end
You
of the
should have
day.
been doing that all summer.
I mean, they were. But it doesn't mean that you've got it figured out already.
It's called the draft, man.
So
Get
with the
somebody to
Catman retiring, is that like one of those?
Yeah.
You didn't dump me. I broke up with you first.
Hey,
kind
Kyle,
of,
why don't you sit up
move?
for us? You look like a shrunken head over there. There
I'm
you
over
go.
here on the
Funny.
computer.
Yeah.
On the Caputa.
Nah, it was Canizaro. Like,
There you go.
no, you didn't break up with me. I broke up with you. I'm retiring. You can't cut me. Can't cut me because I'm retiring.
If you have another job, then maybe. But you don't have another job. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it said. It
you
said
quit
that he
football
retired.
in general.
He's got that kind of name that like he probably like resigned and then started up his own like little shrewd law business or something like Capanzaro and Celino and Barnes.
Funny.
Salito and Barnes, injury attorneys. Yeah. So I'm looking at the Eagles depth chart right now at corner,
Uh-huh.
and their 2 deep is better than our 1 deep.
Gee whiz.
So they have Maddox and Darby starting
Yep.
on the depth chart
I'd like to say
with
Darby's supposed to be good.
with Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones, the guy that tore his Achilles in the workout that they drafted. Do you remember that?
that?
You dub guy.
Yeah.
So he's back now. He's on their 2 deep, and then they have on their 3 deep Orlando Scandrick.
He played for
Wow.
Dallas. All those, yeah.
Right, they got I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, you're
He's
right.
just
It,
sitting there
sound,
waiting.
it,
Joe
it,
Douglas
it
sitting there
sounds
like
to
this.
me.
Yeah, he is. He's sitting there like, you're right, Kerry.
It sounds to me like you can make a trade for Orlando Scandrick,
Easily.
probably.
Or see if they cut him because they're not going to keep 6 without cutting him. And
Well, I don't know enough about the Eagles to know who their nickel is.
True.
So is their nickel? I mean, maybe somebody on Facebook that's listening knows who they use as their nickel. I would imagine that it's probably Douglas or Jones who they're going to use as their nickel, and their dime would have Scandrick in it or another safety. They're deep at safety too. They have McLeod, Sadenho, and Jonathan Cyprian at free safety, and Malcolm Jenkins, Trey Sullivan, Blake Countess. I don't know him.
Malcolm Jenkins. I forgot about that dude.
He's still on the roster? I mean,
Pro Bowl.
They're pretty. They're one of the deeper teams at DB that I know of.
Check out the sage of the DBs. We got a single on Kerry, the sage of the DBs. He knows what's up.
We play the Eagles this year, don't we?
Yes, we do.
In preseason, we usually play them,
and we play them in the regular season too.
Regular season too, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I think might put a monkey wrench in the fact that for Douglas to make a trade.
I can't imagine that they're thinking that forward. You know, to be like, your third cornerback. We're not going to trade you a third cornerback, right, to help our roster, knowing that we're not going to get anything for him if we release him anyway. It's like, why not?
And you know what?
True.
They knew the schedule, and they let us talk to their director of pro personnel, who we hired as their GM. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, bring it on, Eagles, you Super Bowl champs. Give us some of that moxie, baby.
Yeah. Howie Roseman.
Yeah, Howie Roseman. Yeah, he learned from the upper echelon. So let's go, man. So all right, so we're not done here yet. So who needs to go? Who needs to stay? So Kyle, you said Trent Williams needs to come in here, and then maybe we can swap some people out. I think I go if I were to give him Beacham, I'll give him a 5th rounder, and that's it. I'm not trying to give up 1 through.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, we already up here in Westchester in the studio.
I don't know if I'm going all city, all state with
shout out to Giannis
Trent Williams. I don't know if I'm going a 5th rounder and Beacham.
No,
5th is high.
With
Beacham too. I mean, if you're talking about
Beacham gonna be our starter,
you should be able to get Trent Williams and his salary for a 3rd by itself.
I know, but Trent Williams is a perennial Pro Bowler. That's how I was looking at it. Y'all sound like y'all want to chop my head off. Gee whiz.
A little bit.
Yeah, but you still got to pay him.
True, yeah.
Pay him, pick, and player. Pay him, pick, and player. That's a lot, man.
Right. Isn't the reason he's
the P trifecta?
You over there hooked on phonics. You over there with the wordplay. Look at you.
Triple P, baby.
Triple P.
Because what are the circumstances of the situation? Is because he wants to be re-signed?
And he had a cyst on his head or something or tumor, and he got it removed. But he felt like he wasn't being treated fairly by the medical staff.
Right.
And then plus he wants to, it's money, and he also felt like the bigger picture that he wasn't treated fairly by the medical staff.
It's like a Kevin Durant situation,
right? Which means but he said it wasn't their fault. But
that's life death.
Anyway, but my point is that we still have to pay him. We still have to pay him.
Yeah. I'll pay him.
Right, but my point is that if we still have to pay him, I'm not giving a 5th round pick and my starting left tackle.
Right,
I'm not doing that.
Fine, I'll give him a 6th rounder. Because it's not equitable if we go Beacham for him. It just won't be equitable.
No, not straight up. I mean, of course not. You got to get a pick in there. So I
threw out a 5th.
Well, it's still top heavy on their end to me because you still have to pay this guy. Beacham is under contract for this year.
I hear you.
I mean,
then it's a 7th rounder for me. I'm not giving him. I'm not giving them a 5th, even maybe a 6th, and Beacham maybe.
Cap wise, you can't take on Williams' salary and sign another corner. That's the corner that is of
his current salary
of substance. I think the numbers that I saw were that if you brought in Trent Williams without losing Beacham, like you just traded him for a draft pick, you'd only have about $3 million left for another player, $3 to $4 million or something like that. So, and you gotta figure if you're going to trade for a corner, then you're probably going to bring in somebody with a salary that's $5 million or under.
I'll tell you what,
that's my guess.
I haven't heard anything negative about Shell, our right tackle, and he's recovered from his knee. because he hurt his knee at the end of the season, I believe.
Right.
I've heard nothing negative. I've heard nothing negative about the knee. He also played and started in the preseason game, and it seems like he played well. I didn't really study him, but I've heard nothing negative. So let's just say we don't make this this deal for this Pro Bowl / All-Pro Trent Williams. I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we're going to potentially mortgage our future, which is something that I do not want to do. But if we can get this guy in, I'd love to get him in. But if we don't, I am more. I think center was the biggest thing for us, and that has been answered. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. If I'm next, what I'm telling you is, give me half of the cornerbacks on roster on the Eagles.
Half of them, huh?
Half of them.
Wow.
Bring all of them in here.
So who we getting rid of? I guess everybody else. Parry Nickerson's
everybody.
gone.
Bunch them up.
Everybody.
Bunch them up with a red bow. Here you go. Take the bunch of them. I want 2 of your guys.
So we haven't
Just a
spoken
corner.
about the outside linebacker since we're talking about who can go, who can stay. Go ahead, Kerry.
Well, Polite. We haven't brought up Polite's name.
We need to bring his name up.
We need to bring his name up because I
or abrasively.
Well,
not a good segue.
go ahead.
But I didn't see, again, because the defense was so vanilla.
Yeah. Very true.
On Thursday, you're not going to get what you want to see.
He hasn't flashed in camp, though. That's one of the things. I mean, at least Quintin Williams, he has flashed in camp.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of press around him and his performance during camp. I haven't heard a lot.
And that's what I'm saying. I want to see him
at
on the field.
all.
I want to see him released.
I heard that he flashed in camp. Took him a little bit later, and he did flash. He had a couple, I think he had a 2-sack day in camp, and then like a 1.5 sack day in camp. But the caveat is, it was against the second team offense.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So he hasn't flashed against the first team offense, but it's more against the seconds and the thirds. But before he was playing with the third team defense, now he's up to the second team. So we'll see. I mean, I'm hearing really good things about the guy that we could have and should have drafted before him. That was in the same ranking or in the same realm, Chase Winovich. He's on New England, of course. Right. That's a New England pick, and I hear he's doing really well.
I watched part of that preseason game, and yes, absolutely right.
Yeah. So
it was on Friday. I was watching.
So in this segment here, who can go, who can stay, and who do we need to bring in? We've all agreed that our kicker can go, but he was already jettisoned. He jettisoned himself before the show started. We're basically saying Parry Nickerson can either play the outside, and if not, he can go. And then now, who else can go? Or
Trenton Cannon. Trenton Cannon is probably going to go.
I agree with you, Colin.
Yeah, especially going back to what I was saying about the wide receiver running back situation. If you tend to keep more running backs than you do wide receivers, you're not going to keep a guy who's one-dimensional as a returner and not really that great at that. Like he's an uncomfortable punt returner and a serviceable kick returner. If Greg Dortch does those two jobs, then you're no longer. I mean, Cannon didn't even really do it last year. Andre Roberts did.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think Trenton Cannon is probably going to go.
And I don't like Trenton Cannon's vision behind the line of scrimmage as a running back.
I don't either.
To be very honest with you.
He's not elusive either. I mean, you would think that somebody that's fast would be shifty and elusive or whatever, but I haven't seen it at all. Doesn't show up on tape.
Yeah, I think that Sharon Peak is probably in his last training camp.
Yep.
I don't think that he makes the team because he's basically a special teams guy. He didn't really get in on offense in the preseason game until the fourth quarter with Luke Falk when he was playing. So, I mean, you got a good look at Dortch the whole game, kind of. He looked nice on that pick play touchdown that he scored. He looked pretty good returning the ball. He looked comfortable returning the ball.
Yeah, one of his returns went for, I think, 42 yards, I think.
Yeah.
One of Dortch's returns. So he's got that quick twitch vision, which I happen to like. And, we're definitely going to need it. Yeah, without a doubt.
I think Davis Webb is out of here, too.
Davis, I was just about to bring up the QB. You think
Yeah.
so after one game, you think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he's gone. And he looked pretty bad.
He did.
He looked pretty bad.
I know Kyle likes him a lot.
Yeah, you know
Former
what?
Giant.
Too, I think that it may not. He may not get the opportunity. Davis Webb, was he third year in the league
I think so.
right
yeah.
now?
Mhm.
Sure.
I don't know where he qualifies as far as practice squad and stuff like that. He may have done that too many times. There's rules to that, but Trevor Simeon played so well in that game on Thursday that I think he's created such a clear separation now that Davis Webb would have to come back and have a better game than that to even be close. And now you have the he probably won't do that. And so now you're discussing who's your developmental guy. Is it Luke Falk, who is second year in the league, or is it Davis Webb? And I think that Davis Webb is probably out at that point. Although I liked what he was doing in the offseason, and I didn't think he really got a fair shake with the Giants. So it's too bad for him, but he did not look good the other night. And I wonder if it had anything to do with him playing the Giants in his first game, not being a Giant and playing.
Maybe, but let's keep it in perspective as well. I think that all of these people that we're talking about will have at least one more game to, not all of them, but I think like someone like Davis Webb will most probably have one more game to prove himself, and then we'll see what's up, because they're not going to save it for the third.
The fourth. I mean, you got the fourth game as well.
Yeah, but you would have whittled down your roster down to maybe 75 people by the fourth game, I believe. Instead of
they won't whittle down the quarterbacks though, because they won't play the starter or the backup probably in that fourth game at all.
True.
I think that Trevor Simeon, the way that he looked the other night, he might be in the top 50% of backup quarterbacks in the league.
That's fantastic
right now, which means that we're going second year in which we have a really good backup, not just a guy. So I think that might have been a good. I didn't think much of that move at the time because I thought Davis Webb was going to be that guy, but I kind of take that back at this point. He looks so good.
Yeah, he looks good. And
he missed like one pass, right?
Yeah, and it was two, but he was like, I want to say 14 for 16, so very high.
I think one of them was a drop too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And he started in the past. He's won games before. He started in the past.
Yeah.
For a good franchise in the Denver Broncos, run by John Elway. So yeah,
now
I like him.
Gase wasn't there when Trevor Simeon played for the Dolphins for a minute too, right? Didn't he?
I think he did, but I know that Gase was with the Broncos when Manning was there, and I don't remember if Simeon was the backup under Manning. Like
I don't think he's that old. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think from a wide receiver perspective, then that's something that we need to look at other people's rosters and see where we can kind of pick up some players, just to get some depth on the outside. So we kind of spoke about that earlier. You look at
our kicker is definitely on another roster right now. That's my opinion.
Our kicker,
or the kicker that we will start the season with playing for somebody else.
Definitely.
No,
definitely.
That's how we got Myers last year. We got Myers from Seattle when they dropped him. He goes to the Pro Bowl, then goes and signs another contract with Seattle.
Yeah,
he looked great the other night too. They had him kicking the whole game. So I mean that was like a little bit of salt in the wound.
Yeah,
but I kind of did the golf clap when he got that.
Well, you know what? He signed. I think he signed a 3-year deal for $15.9 million, and
it's
I guess
too steep.
Yeah, and that's what McCagnon thought. He thought that was too steep, but he was, I believe, a Pro Bowl. Oh, he definitely was a Pro Bowl, but I think he was an All-Pro. So he wanted that All-Pro money, and then I think Myers also did not like the way that the Jets were handling the negotiation process. So even though he knew that, negotiations happen, he felt slighted. And I'm not sure exactly how he felt slighted, but he felt slighted and then kind of just gave the Jets his back and just went and signed a better deal elsewhere.
I mean, if you come in.
It's funny because he went to the team he got cut by. So
sure.
I mean, who slided him more? The one that signed him or the one that didn't?
Right.
I mean, when they showed him the money at that point in time, but
yeah, you ain't signed nobody. Show me them $15.9 millions, man.
That's right. The millions.
Yeah, man.
Jason, we were wrong about Sebastian Janikowski.
Come back.
So guys, So guys, let's move on to our last topic here. Let's go on to the news around the NFL. And listen, folks at home, Captain Kyle McKenna texted us, our group BKBK chat group that we have, and he was like, I want to talk about this right here. And you know what? The whole world is talking about it. The whole football world is talking about it as well. And the first topic that we're going to tackle here on the BKBK podcast as far as football, NFL news around the league is the Antonio Brown news.
Oh, Lord.
What's going on with this guy, first of all? Secondly, honestly, I'm glad he's not a Jet. And I said it. So what? I'm glad he's not a Jet.
The first thing I said to myself is, we picked the right, head case to deal with Le'Veon Bell so far.
Sure.
And because he has actually been pretty good teammate and everything like that. It looks like everything's going pretty well.
And he's in great shape.
Yeah. But Antonio Brown, it seems as though he has gone over the point of no return. First of all, we get wind that his feet are frostbitten.
Did you see his feet, bro? Damn.
That's crazy. A picture of it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, that's nasty.
So
yeah.
I don't have
Need
you
a
guys
pedicure
ever
if
done,
I've ever seen one, bro.
Oh, Lord.
Have you guys ever done cryotherapy?
With those little fish and stuff they eat the bottom of your feet? That's what he
Oh, that's the eczema fish. Yeah, I know about that.
When you see them floating upside down after eating your feet, that's when you know you got some bad feet.
So supposedly this dude goes into the cryo chamber barefoot.
Right.
Which
why is it sounding like very Star Wars-y? But this guy's going into the cryo chamber. Oh my!
Comes out there like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Wow.
His feet. Those were his feet. Those weren't even his hands. They came up like.
Antonio, don't go into the carbon freezing and go over the side of the hut.
Carbon froze.
It was the warning sign. You sign a waiver before you go into the cryo chamber. You know what I'm saying? And
don't go into the place.
Listen.
If Boba Fett's at the door,
oh yeah,
don't go in.
Don't go in. No.
Boba Fett is French too because he did it in French.
I just saw the playback on Facebook of my Han Solo and then the carries. All right, yeah. So he goes into the cryo chamber and he messes up his feet first of all. So he's missing time with that. But then
Kyle, I'm sorry, Kyle. And how did he mess up his feet? Like, do you know what the story is on that? Like, how did he mess up his feet?
Apparently, I think there's like a suit or something that you wear when you do this cryotherapy. I've never done it before, but I know it's like a deep freeze type of thing. So obviously you can't have skin exposed because if you have skin exposed, you're going to get frostbite. It's like minus 30 degrees Kelvin or whatever it is. So you're getting into like the deep freeze, on your whole body. So I guess he had some exposed feet on this. He did it in France. I don't know. They got different cryotherapy in France or something like that. But that's the story I heard. So he comes with these messed up feet to camp and with this helmet that is 10 years old, or I guess 11 years old now. And it's on the list of helmets that the NFL will no longer let people wear. So apparently Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are also in this category of guys that want to wear these shut helmets that are discontinued. So the regular rule
and they're discontinued because of safety reasons per the NFL and how they categorize what's more safe than the other, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if all of the helmets fall into that category or they may just be discontinued like a shoe would be discontinued, like they just don't make it anymore. But it's one of those two. So he gets wind of this whole thing and he says, "No, I'm not playing without this helmet, and you're letting Brady and Aaron Rodgers do it, so you need to let me do it too." So that they have to have like all these negotiations with him where it's like, "Look, Antonio, the rule is that any helmet that's over 10 years, and this is a hard and fast law.
Yeah.
Any helmet that's over 10 years has to go out of circulation. So it's not, that's high school, youth, NFL, everywhere. So
Antonio is wrong because Brady reluctantly relented, as did Aaron Rodgers as well.
So apparently they showed him pictures of them relenting, and they said, "See, Tom's doing it. Aaron's doing it. Okay, can you practice now?" And he's like,
"No."
Okay. And then he does it for one day, and then he says, "No, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't see out of this helmet. I want my old helmet back." And apparently he gets his old helmet back and then paints it with like Crayola paint or whatever, black, and then paints like a Raiders logo on it
Wow.
and then tries to go out with it. And everybody's like, yo, you're not fooling anyone. We can tell that you painted the Raiders thing on you. And I don't know if this is all going to play out on Hard Knocks
this
or
is
not,
classic.
but I can't wait to see if it does.
It better play out on Hard Knocks.
It's got to
Because
play
it
out
will
on
be a
Hard Knocks.
ratings booster.
Oh my
Absolutely.
I want to see.
So
Over
where
helmets.
we're at right now is he's still not practicing, and it's still over this helmet. I talked to an executive from a helmet company last night.
Wow, that's
And
research.
Nice.
yeah, that's my source. I'm getting old Adam Schechter on this.
There you go,
Okay.
Shefty.
Yeah, I had a conversation with an executive from an unnamed helmet company last night, talking about like the exact helmet that he has, and it's like, his helmet. Not only is it old, but it's in this category that the NFL banned, and apparently there was a lot of lead time on this. Like they said last year, you're not going to be able to do it next year. So it's not like it was a secret or it was being held from him. He is just totally bugging out about this. So, and I don't know if this is like an excuse to kind of collect money and not play. I mean,
Sure.
He's going to have to give back some of it, though, if that's the case. I mean, I can't confirm it, but it makes sense. But anyway.
But what does this say about the reason why the Steelers let him go in the first place?
Yeah,
I mean,
he kind of got too big for his britches, and they just, you get tired of this after a while.
It's a little nutty.
Like, I want to wear the thigh pads that Kyle wore in high school at Baldwin.
The Donzies thigh pads.
The Donzies, yeah. And I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna continue my playing career if I don't have those Comic Con thigh pads. That makes my legs rub together a little bit more, or whatever it is.
Wow.
I actually told the schools that were recruiting me, like the Final Three, that I had to have the Lawrence Taylor face mask.
Oh,
The one
nice.
with the 3 bars.
Yeah.
Or I'm not coming. Yeah.
Antonio McKenna, huh? That's what it was?
I know you were high maintenance like that.
That was more in jest. But the other bugged out thing that I read about Antonio Brown is that even before all this, he was going to meetings and he was completely disinterested and not listening to anything, to the point where he had up to 4 different tablets and his phone out during meetings. And he was like doing online banking,
Social media,
and social, and like liking things on Instagram during
Get him outta
like
here.
wide receiver meetings.
Get him out of here.
But can you just picture that? Can you picture the dude on the table with like 4 different tablets, like liking different things on the different tablets, and then transferring money from one place to another while a meeting's going on?
Get him
So
outta here.
It seems like the only one we can picture doing this is somebody like him, and that kind of irks me. Kind of that tweaks me. That's not a peak. That tweaks me. So I'm so glad that he's not a Jet. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So glad.
Sounds like.
But
We-
doesn't
we
it
done with this-
make sense though? Doesn't it make sense though that it's on the Raiders that he's doing it?
Totally.
It sounds like an episode of Ballers on HBO.
It does.
Like it's so exaggerated.
Like a real good episode.
Yeah.
Like it's super exaggerated, but it's just true.
Right. Unreal.
And,
That's
I guarantee they'll have an episode of that. Something like
Yeah,
that.
somebody
Guaranteed.
on the Twitter feed that I was reading said that, is this real or is this from The Onion? You ever go to that
yeah,
website,
it's
The
a
Onion?
satirical website. Yeah.
Felt like The Onion.
So Brian, what do you want to talk about now as far as news around the league?
Well, you got Zeke Elliott. I mean, they talk about it pretty much every single day.
Yes.
Where is he at in Cabo? Is he over here?
He's
Is
in
he
Cabo.
eating?
He's
Is he in the
Cabo?
car? He's in
Like,
Cabo.
where's Waldo?
Right. Listen, if you're going to be on a holdout, I mean, you need to be in Cabo.
Wow.
Right? I mean, why not? And it's closer proximity to where Dallas is having their training camp anyway. So in case that they actually has to put, pen to paper, he can just get up there pretty quick.
For all you folks, Dallas Cowboys, they hold their camp in California, in Southern California. So I guess
Is it still Oxnard that they do it in?
It is Oxnard, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only time I hear that name, like ever.
That's also where
sounds British.
the boxing trainer, that stable of boxers, I forget the guy's name.
De La Hoya?
It's not De La Hoya. It's a guy who's he trains his brother.
Buster Douglas?
What's up, Buster Douglas? All right, moving on.
My bad. All right, so back to Zeke. I mean, listen. They have a tough issue over there in Dallas. Not a lot of money, and they got 3 people potentially that they need to sign there, including their quarterback and wide receiver. But Zeke is, he's what stirs the drink at the end of the day. So And to me, you pay running backs less money than you're gonna pay the quarterback and you're gonna pay the wide receiver anyway. So why not just get it done? Just get it done. What are you going to be at this point in time as far as playoff aspirations are concerned without Zeke? What is Dallas?
When you say
them?
get it done, are you tasking Dallas to get it done?
That's a very good question.
Or are you tasking Zeke to get it done?
I'm tasking Dallas to get it done.
Let's understand this too.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a problem. I don't think the money would be a problem for Jerry Jones. I think
everyone's dealing with.
You got a hard cap though, so
no,
okay.
I'm just talking about paying players. He's never had a problem paying players. This guy has been a problem. He's been a problem, and he's continuing to be a problem.
Now he's continuing to be a problem.
Yeah.
If you would,
it was a recent issue.
I agree, and then borderline disagree with you. He's not like a problem in the scope of like a Kareem Hunt or something like that. He's
close to it.
Borderline.
He's close to it.
Is he borderline? He's not
Yeah.
borderline.
He had some
Kareem Hunt.
things. He had some things
right
that were almost there.
He's filling up girls on camera. You see him doing this.
I didn't see.
I'm
that.
sure you didn't.
I didn't.
Right. TMZ. You ain't watched TMZ?
Well,
right.
well.
And he's unapologetic about it too. That's the
okay.
problem. I think that's more the problem than his ability or them ascertaining whether or not they're going to commit that kind of resources to him.
So you're Jerry Jones. What do you do?
I really don't know. This is him holding out is not helping the situation. It's not helping his cause.
I'll tell you what. If I'm Jerry Jones, and I didn't know about the TMZ thing, but let's just say, all right, fine, everything is okay. I just don't know. But I honestly,
and he's a running back.
I would pay him. I know he's a running back, totally. But here's the difference. This team, he is the foundation of this team. Mostly it's quarterbacks, but this whole offense
line is the foundation.
Very
Well,
good.
That offensive line is the foundation.
It is.
But they've had some turnover. They've had some injuries, and he has still led the league in rushing.
Yes.
His first 3 years in the league.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And the thing is, the offense goes through him.
Right.
And this was before what's his name got here through the trade with the Raiders, the wide receiver. I forget his name. Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Dak Prescott wouldn't be Dak Prescott.
Without that offensive line too. I'm telling you.
I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. But I mean, like, without the offensive line, I understand it. But we're not hearing stories about an offensive lineman or two or whatever whose contracts are up and they're holding out. We're hearing about Zeke.
They said the same thing about Le'Veon Bell with the with the Steelers, and then who emerged as a result.
I hear you. Well, hey, listen, I'm only going with what we have on paper here, and this kid in all of his, when you add it all up, the first 4 years, he's leading the league in rushing. You know what I'm saying? He's leading. He's a huge weapon for them, and it makes Garrett's job much easier. It makes the quarterback's job much easier to kind of set the tone up through Ezekiel, and then being able to throw the ball. Look at the quarterback's numbers. When basically the running back is involved, and then now you bring in Amari Cooper, he's able to throw to his targets. I just look at him as the fulcrum. You know what I'm saying? So I think that they should pay him, but I do respect what you're saying. You're making very, very good arguments, Gary.
And he's
think,
not
the
running back, from what I understand, the running back that replaced him in the preseason played pretty well as well. So I mean, you have that. So the longer he holds out, and the longer this guy, whoever they have that might be a replacement for him, it doesn't spell good results for Zeke.
I just think some running backs are irreplaceable.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think some of them are.
Le'Veon was.
And
we hope Le'Veon will continue to be.
I don't even think so.
Huh?
I don't even think so. I mean, I think that,
Le'Veon's not. You wouldn't take Le'Veon over Zeke at the time?
Le'Veon
they were both in the
we're
league?
talking about two different things. I thought you were talking about Le'Veon versus who replaced Le'Veon in
Connor.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
So
I think what I'm saying is that it's a similar situation.
So listen, Connor played out of his mind, but he still wasn't Le'Veon. And I mean, I just don't.
He didn't have to be. He was still an All-Pro. excuse me, a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
Do you
a
think
legit Pro Bowler?
if you put Le'Veon instead of Connor on that team, do you think they make the playoffs instead of being on the outside looking in last year?
Absolutely. But
Okay.
I'm saying he's still a Pro Bowler. So the thing is the juice worth the squeeze? Do I have
This guy
to?
loves this.
I
He loves
right.
that.
I
He
love
loves that
right.
too.
Do
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
right?
He loves
Do I,
that too. I love
if
it.
I pay him top dollar,
Yep.
am I going to get the return that I need exponentially over the next guy?
Zeke, yes. Bell, yes.
Yeah.
Over Connor?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you place Connor on that offense doing what he did last year,
On
are
the-
you
on
Which
upset
offense you talking
On the
about?
Cowboys?
on the Cowboys offense?
Oh, he's not there. So I mean, it's
I'm
apples
just
and
saying,
oranges, but
it's not apples and
I
oranges.
don't think it's apples
He was
and
the next
oranges.
guy up. He
Yeah.
was the next guy up. He
Yeah.
wasn't projected to be what he is now.
I think he would be really good behind that O-line, like you were saying, because the O-line is I like I said,
but
I
he wouldn't
respect
be
your
Zeke.
opinion.
You're talking about
But he
a
would
free
not be
down-
Zeke.
I don't. But am I saying that? My point is that you may not need him to be Zeke.
So if Connor comes in, right, and Dallas does not make the playoffs, do you consider that, a success? He runs for 1,200 yards. He has 200 yards receiving, and they don't make the playoffs. I think Dallas would lose their minds and say, "Man, we should have paid Zeke."
because what more would have Zeke done? What more would Zeke have done?
Just like you said, Le'Veon would have made the difference potentially of Pittsburgh, who was close to making the playoffs. Right? I mean, it's not they had a slide down the end of the season, and that coincided with Connor's slide. I had him on my fantasy team. Thank you for trading him to me.
Oh man. Gee
By the
whiz.
way, and the slide coincided with the slide of the team not making the playoffs at the same time. So, do you think Pittsburgh would
I
have
just don't-
traded?
I don't think it's black and white. I don't think it's black and white. And I think
No, I think it's definitely
Jerry-
apples and oranges.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's I don't know. I mean, well, you haven't seen those oranges to know if it was the same at this point in time anyway, right?
How
I
you
mean,
like
you
them
haven't.
apples?
You're right. You haven't seen at this point in time. You don't know if Zeke is coming back or not. You haven't seen him sit out the entire year at this point in time with a contract issue, and you haven't seen his backup perform. So you don't know what it's going to end up being and what it looks like.
No, I think you don't know. I think you're absolutely right. You don't know. But what I would say is that I don't know if signing Zeke, given the baggage, if he didn't have the baggage, then I would say, you know what, this is a no-brainer. Make it happen.
If he didn't have the baggage, he's the best running back in the league right now.
right now.
I mean, he's better than Todd Gurley, in my opinion.
He is.
He means more to his team than Todd Gurley
Not
does.
before the knee.
Absolutely.
Not before the
it
knee,
means-
but we're talking about right now.
I hear
Not
you.
before
I'm
the knee.
talking about
I
right
agree.
now. I'm talking
Yeah, I
about what have
agree.
you
I
done
hear
for me lately?
Understood.
He means more to his team than Melvin Gordon does.
Yes, he
And
does.
Melvin Gordon does not have the soapbox to stand on that Ezekiel Elliott does.
Very true.
And then you got to play in the fact that you got Jason Witten back on the Cowboys too, which is going to supercharge that offense. He's not going to lose a step. He's going to go out there and he's going to do what Jason Witten did when it comes to that
2 years
intermediate
earlier.
passing game.
Mhm.
So you're going to have to deal with that in the play action as well as Amari Cooper and the other things they do. I think that they wind up signing him. I think he winds up signing for somewhere in between Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley. I think it happens probably 2 weeks or a week before.
He's going to
the
pull an
season.
Emmitt Smith. You think he's going to pull an Emmitt Smith? Come in 2
Yeah.
weeks.
I think he likes that money,
Especially
and I
if
think
they
that he
lose.
also knows that that he has more baggage than some of the other people that were maybe doing holdouts like this. I think that's the way it's going to play out. It's my opinion, but I definitely think that he means a lot to what makes Dallas go. So
Understood.
I don't think we don't know what Le'Veon's going to be after a year off.
Sure.
I mean, if he's anywhere near where he was before, I think that's good for us.
Yeah.
But he's not coming off an injury, so interesting to see.
I'd say just before we move on to our next topic, just real quick, I just think that if any of us were Zeke, I think we'd all hold out because we know about the shelf life of running backs and the perception that the league has taken. If I were him, like I don't fault him for trying to get his money. Get your money. And I also think that Jerry Jones will end up paying this guy because he's got to strike while the iron is hot because they're built for a Super Bowl right now. And you got to strike when the iron's hot. Kerry, talk to us about Tom Brady's extension. He just got an extension, and basically it's just like a 1-year deal. Basically,
It's a succession of 1-year deals. The average salary is $28.3 million a year,
and he took less.
Right, but
Yeah.
what does that 28.3 represent?
I don't know.
It's a dig. So the Super Bowl, they were down 28-3 to Atlanta.
Oh,
Wow.
Look at you.
Disrespectful.
My wife fell
Totally
asleep.
disrespectful.
Woke up. Did Atlanta win?
Right.
I was like,
Right.
no.
And sidebar, they were, I think a bunch of the NFL players were doing a happy birthday video. And Darnold was asked to participate, and he declined.
Good, Dad. Good.
Right.
That's right. Daggone it.
He
Yeah.
declined.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Respectfully, of course,
I like
right?
my quarterback.
Yeah, you know
I
that.
like my pick. Thank you, by the way. Turned into what? What happened?
Oh no,
What
no.
had happened?
What? Hey, listen. Baker was my number one, and my
Whatever.
one.
We're not gonna.
and my
rehash
1A
it.
was
Wow.
Darnold,
We're
just
not
like
gonna
Brian,
rehash
just
it.
like my man
What's the
right
next
next to me.
topic? What's the next topic?
Yeah,
again?
next
I can't
topic.
remember.
All right,
I
next
forgot
topic
that.
is, and this is the last one. I'm just gonna briefly go over. So, there was a Saints fan who basically filed a lawsuit called the No Call lawsuit, and it was during last year's playoff game where
ridiculous.
the Saints played the Rams,
Yeah.
and there was clear pass interference. The guy got bowled over when he was about to make a catch.
Yep.
And he is basically suing to either have the game basically declared a win for the Saints, or having to replay it again so that the Saints would get a fair chance. And now it's gone up the ladder here. And then now it's gone so far that the Saints have taken the side of the NFL, who don't want to replay it or anything. They know that there was...
Just give him his money back. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. It's like, hey, if you went to the game, give him his money back, including the hot dog and the Italian sausage that he purchased, or something like that, and a couple beers.
Well, it's probably down in Louisiana, so it's probably one of those gator hot dogs.
Crawfish or something like that?
Gator.
Gator?
I don't
Gator
like those.
dogs?
Gator dog?
Yeah, I
They
listen.
sell them at the.
I went to a
arena?
Saints game back in the day, and you know who they were playing?
Hmm.
They were playing the Rams.
Okay.
This is crazy. This was like back in like 2009 or something. I was down in New Orleans, went to the Superdome, and so went there, and it was one of those jambalaya stations. It was one of those kiosks that were there selling food and stuff
Funny.
inside the spot. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm down here. I guess they just call it Gator Dogs because you're down here in Gator country,
You
whatever.
actually ate a gator tail, huh?
Hold on.
Oh, wow.
And then I bought one, wasted $7, and then I'm like this, waving it in front of my face, about to eat it, and then I go, this isn't really like alligator meat, right? Because I'm just down here, and you guys are calling it Gator Dog just because of the atmosphere. She's like, child, that's real gator meat. And I'm like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Child. And she goes like this to me, where you from? I'm like, I'm from New York. She goes, mm-hmm.
You didn't try it?
No way.
You didn't even,
I gave
you
it
didn't
back
even
to
try
her.
the
I
gator?
didn't,
Why would you do
nah,
that?
I'm not doing that.
Why?
I'm not eating cold-blooded animals, bro. That's like
As
eating-
opposed to what?
Wow. The
a
cold-blooded.
cow?
I'll eat
You
a
don't
cow.
So, I'm not eating cold-blooded animals.
I'm not eating serpents, gators, snakes. I'm not even.
anything that's cold.
Yeah,
okay.
cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
I'm not
Oh
doing
my
it. Love you, Rick
gosh.
James, but I'm not doing it, bro.
This is the first time that I've heard anybody object to cold-blooded
Cold-blooded
animals.
animals. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, do they
Is there like
kill
a name
it?
for that, like a
Do they kill in
vegetarian,
cold
but-
blood? I
Sure.
mean, reptilians.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Lizards.
V the final battle. Remember that? Remember?
V.
Wow.
Remember V?
You got a problem.
I
Oh,
do.
no.
I
You got
do.
a problem.
I
Do,
got
do, the,
issues.
do the laser gun. Do the laser gun for
Want to
us.
hear the laser? That's what it sounded like.
Evaporation.
Not
Anyway,
the first time it's come up.
nah,
Like
not at
Donovan.
all. Hey, you know what? That's our cue to get off the air because
It
we are
is.
ridiculous.
It is.
You old.
So yeah, gee whiz. Yeah. Anyway,
Is that on NBC?
I know
Probably
CBS,
was, too.
right? Was it NBC?
I think it was
So,
NBC. I
it's
think it was-
NBC.
There was no Fox back then. You know what I'm saying? It was just
True,
yeah.
true. Yeah. And
There was
then
no
you know
Fox.
what?
Only Channel 5.
Only Channel 5. And then like years down the line, they probably got replayed on WPIX Channel 11.
Oh,
That was the repeat.
That's the repeats, yeah.
oh Lord.
Oh my
Watching some-
goodness.
some TV picks. Landed a little
Yeah,
low.
TV.
Landed a loss.
Oh, guys, girls, we are nuts here in the BKBK
Sure.
studios. But it's nuts. But we all love you, and we hope that you guys love us and love today's episode. Thanks for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide, and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK podcast fan page. You can find us on Twitter at BKBK podcast, Instagram at BKBK podcast,
IG.
as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK podcast, hit the like and the subscribe button to show the love. And if you can't watch us, you can listen to us on iTunes. Go to bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com. That's it. Let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go Team BKBK. We out.
Cue the music.